We're here today because we're questioning the safety of vaccines. That is something that we all know has been researched, and as you've heard the previous speakers, it is not safe. What happened to natural immunity? What happened? Okay, you're standing here today because your great ancestors all developed natural immunity. And that natural immunity has brought you here today, not vaccines. They didn't have them. Okay, that natural immunity is because you breathed and they breathed in pathogens through their nose and through their mouth, and that was the first line of defense. And it went through your mouth and nose and hit your mucous membranes on the inside of your nose and throat and went down all past your lymphatic tissue, and it ended up near your thymus gland, and your body was able to, and their bodies were able to make antibodies. And when you have, or we know we don't have, but when people choose to have a vaccine in the arm, it bypasses that pathway. It goes straight into your bloodstream. How can you build up antibodies? And so how dare they tell us that the unvaccinated are causing the spread? Because we have better immunity by breathing in through our nose and mouth and relying on nature. Nature has got us through to this point. We have to look after nature, and we're part of nature, and you look after your health in the best way you can and use your instincts and your intuition. Okay, now the next thing is that a lot of people come to my clinic and they are totally unaware, like the politicians were when we went down to Canberra, and they are totally unaware of what is in vaccines. How can aluminium, mercury, formaldehyde, borax, antibiotics, and a new one called glyphosates are in vaccines? Recently discovered glyphosates. That is a product of Roundup, of a herbicide, mind you. And how did that get in there? Well, there has been a contract between lovely big giant Merck and Monsanto. Yes, and so we have purchasing of another chemical that is going to end up in that vaccine and into our kids. It has the ability to open tight junctions, and tight junctions are all in your gut. And when they pull apart, then all the heavy metals, all the aluminium, all the mercury, all those other adjuvants that are in there go straight through your gut into your bloodstream, and there is a brain-gut connection. It also opens up your brain junctions, so you have leaky brain and leaky gut. This is why we're seeing all the autistic spectrum disorders, kids with Tourette's, all these heavy metals going into their bodies and generating all these conditions. This is unspeakable. How can we have vaccinations and chemicals, a giant chemical company coming together? We now have two Goliaths and a David, and we're the Davids, and I'm telling you, you're going to have to fight, and we will win. We will win, and what can you do about it? So what you can do is you can look after your health. You can join the connections for people. When someone's child is screaming and you say to them, did anything happen? And they go, well, I had a vaccine a few days ago. Draw the connection. Do you think it could be that? People are not drawing connections, and they want that. The connections are broken, just like the brain gets broken with the connections with vaccines. So you've got to reconnect it for people. Get their intuition going. Talk to them. And stand up to them. Those politicians, a lot of them said, oh my gosh, I didn't know that my child's autism was related to the vaccines, but it happened when they were 2. In fact, some of those politicians who'd had reactions helped us get the Senate inquiry, only after it happened to them. Right, so I want you to say no to any jabs for yourself. I want you to say, no, I'm not going to play games with you. And I want you to say, no way am I going to follow science that is not really science. Real science is never settled anyway. Right? Science is always changing. And you keep looking and you keep learning and you keep speaking.